Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're getting into the sources on someone pretty extraordinary. A writer whose novels honestly feel less like old books and more like, well, like they were written yesterday about us today. We're talking Fyodor Dostoevsky.
He really was something else, wasn't he? Not just a novelist. You've got this thinker, almost a prophet in some ways. He was mapping out the unconscious mind way before Freud was on the scene and exploring that kind of existential dread years ahead of the existentialists. And maybe most importantly, he seemed to predict the psychological pull, the appeal of totalitarian regimes decades before they actually happened.
It's incredible foresight.
Right.
And what gives his ideas such weight is that they were just theories cooked up in an office somewhere.
Absolutely not.
This was stuff born from intense, almost unbelievable suffering. I mean, you're talking about a man who literally faced a firing squad.
Stood there waiting for death, yeah. Only to be pardoned at the very last moment.
And then 4 years of hard labor in Siberia, just brutal.
His understanding of cruelty, of what humans can endure, it was firsthand knowledge.
Right.
And then add his own battles, epilepsy, a terrible gambling addiction, poverty.
Yeah.
So when he asked these huge questions like, why do we suffer? Or what does freedom really mean? These weren't academic for him. They were survival questions.
That really sets the stage for us. So our mission today in this deep dive is to explore Dostoevsky's view of humanity. And I think we have to start with the idea he found both the most terrifying and maybe the most crucial, this concept of radical freedom.
It really is the bedrock of everything for him. And when Dostoevsky talks about freedom, he doesn't mean, political rights like voting.
Yep.
It's much bigger. It's the metaphysical foundation of being human. It's the thing that separates us from, say, a cleverly programmed machine. It's fundamental.
You described it before as terrifying freedom. What's the choice exactly that makes it so scary?
Well, it's the absolute unavoidable freedom to choose, not just between, say, coffee or tea, but between genuine good and genuine evil. And even more than that, it's the freedom to choose against your own best interests.
Against your own happiness.
Exactly. The freedom to say no to God, to happiness, to love, to life itself, as some have put it. It's like we're condemned to be free. There's no escaping the choice. And that burden, that constant responsibility, that's where the terror and often the guilt comes from.
That sounds almost cruel. If it causes so much anxiety, why is this kind of freedom necessary in his view?
Because, well, without that choice, morality just dissolves. It becomes meaningless. Think about it if you're programmed to be good, like a robot, or if you're just acting on instinct like an animal.
There's no real virtue there.
Precisely. Your goodness doesn't count, morally speaking. It's only the person who could choose evil, who feels that pull, perhaps, but consciously chooses the good. That's the person who earns moral credit.
Okay, I see. But Dostoevsky was pretty pessimistic about our ability to handle this gift, wasn't he? He thought most people just can't bear it.
Yeah, that's the tragic part. He really believed most people find this freedom unbearable.
So what do? How do they try to escape it?
They look for escapes. They crave certainty. They desperately want someone or something to tell them what to do, what to believe. They'll hand over their autonomy, their freedom to strong leaders, to rigid ideologies, anything really, to avoid the terrifying burden of choosing for themselves.
Which brings us to maybe his most famous illustration of this, the underground man. You mentioned he actively works against his own happiness. How does this character show us Dostoevsky's point?
Oh, the underground man is fascinating. He's obsessed, utterly obsessed with proving he's not just a cog in a machine, not a piano key played by the laws of nature or reason.
Right.
So he does these petty, spiteful, self-destructive things. He refuses medical help when he's sick. He insults people. He avoids apologizing when he knows he should. Not because he enjoys the results he's miserable, but because choosing misery, choosing irrationally, is the only way he feels he can assert his freedom, his individuality. He's essentially saying, I'd rather choose my own hell than have your heaven forced on me. His irrationality is his declaration of independence.
Wow, that's quite a statement. And this deep dive into self-sabotage, it leads us right into Dostoevsky, the psychologist, doesn't it? Long before Freud.
Absolutely. The underground man is often called the first real neurotic in modern literature. He's the prototype.
So his problem is too much self-awareness. His intelligence is actually his curse. How does Dostoevsky diagnose that?
It's like this constant crippling internal analysis, what we might call analysis paralysis today, maybe. He feels an impulse, maybe something simple like wanting to be kind to someone.
Right.
But before he can act, his mind just jumps in, dissecting the motive. Why do I want to be kind? Is it genuine? Am I trying to look good? And he questions it until the original feeling is just gone, dead.
So he's always thinking about feeling instead of just feeling.
Exactly. Which means his intelligence isolates him terribly. He feels like a stranger inside his own skin. He can't experience a pure emotion because his brain is always there, observing, judging.
So anger becomes resentment, kindness feels fake.
Right, and this makes social interaction agony for him. It's all a performance he feels he's failing at. He's trapped in his own head, completely isolated.
And this psychological insight, it fuels his big critique of the rationalism that was so popular in his time, right? This idea that humans are basically logical creatures.
Oh, massively. He thought that was a huge, catastrophic mistake. The thinkers of his day, many of them, believed people were rational actors. Fix the social system, make it logical, and people will behave well because it's in their self-interest.
And Dostoevsky says, no, you're missing the point entirely.
Completely. He shows us people are driven by things far deeper and stranger than rational self-interest. Look at Raskolnikov in Crime and Punishment. He doesn't murder for money? Not really.
Right, it's about proving something.
It's to prove he's an extraordinary man, someone above moral law. It's an idea, a compulsion. Or think about Ivan Karamazov. His atheism isn't really about cold logic. It's fueled by this overwhelming emotional horror at the suffering of innocent children.
So if we're not rational machines, what's the danger of building society as if we are, based on scientific materialism?
In Sharon, Dostoevsky saw that leading directly to nihilism. If humans are just matter, just complex biological machines governed by physical laws,
Then free will doesn't really exist. Morality is just convention.
Exactly. And if there's no inherent meaning or value, then what's left? For Dostoevsky, the logical outcome was a ruthless scramble for power and pleasure. Because, well, why not? There are no real rules anymore.
And that thinking, it ultimately justifies treating people like objects.
Like raw material, yeah, things to be manipulated for some larger, supposedly rational social engineering project. It strips away human dignity.
Which brings us, I think, to the absolute core of his struggle, the thing that tormented him most, innocent suffering. His time in Siberia must have shaped this profoundly.
No doubt. It taught him evil wasn't just about ignorance or bad social conditions, though those could play a part. Fundamentally, he believed the potential for profound evil comes from the human heart itself, just like the potential for sainthood. Both reside within us.
And the most powerful expression of this agony comes through Ivan Karamazov, doesn't it? You mentioned he collects these horrific stories.
Yeah, Ivan keeps this sort of ledger of atrocities committed against children, like the story of the 5-year-old girl beaten, abused, forced to eat excrement, and she's praying, "Dear God, for protection." Protection that never comes.
It's unbearable to even think about.
And for Ivan, it is unbearable, morally unbearable. It's why he makes his famous rejection. He says he doesn't necessarily deny God exists, but he rejects the world God made.
He refuses the ticket.
He refuses the ticket to heaven, to any future harmony, if the price is the unavenged suffering of even one innocent child. He finds any explanation, any theodicy that tries to justify that suffering, well, he finds it morally obscene.
And this passionate rejection, based on feeling and morality rather than pure logic, is the setup for his great political prophecy, right? The story Ivan tells the Grand Inquisitor.
Precisely. Ivan tells this parable, this story within the story. It features this old, powerful cardinal, the Grand Inquisitor, who represents, you could say, the authoritarian state or maybe even a corrupted church.
Okay.
And the Inquisitor argues that Jesus made a terrible mistake back in the desert during the temptations. The mistake was offering humanity freedom.
Because freedom is too much for us.
Freedom is a burden that most people cannot bear, the Inquisitor says. So he claims he and those like him have secretly corrected Christ's work by taking that freedom away and giving people what they really want instead.
And what are those things? The 3 temptations Jesus rejected.
The Inquisitor spells them out. First, people want bread, not just food, but total economic security, freedom from worry about survival.
Makes sense.
Second, they want miracle. They crave certainty. They want mystery, authority, something that removes all doubt and just tells them what is true. They don't want to grapple with faith.
Okay, bread, miracle, and the third.
Authority. They want someone strong to follow, someone to worship, someone to take the terrifying responsibility of self-government off their shoulders. They want to be led.
It's chilling because he wrote this, what, in the 1870s?
Yeah, long before the 20th century.
And it perfectly describes the appeal of fascism, of communism, these massive totalitarian systems that demanded absolute obedience in return for promising exactly those things: security, certainty, and strong leadership.
It's an astonishingly accurate prophecy. Millions did willingly trade their freedom for that sense of security and belonging. Dostoevsky understood the psychological hook decades early. It's fundamentally an escape from the anxiety of being free.
So, okay, we've seen the burden of freedom, the paralysis of the underground man, the bleak vision of the Grand Inquisitor. It feels incredibly dark. Does Dostoevsky offer any way out, any alternative besides despair?
He does. It's not easy, but it's there. His ultimate answer lies in what he calls active love.
Active love, what does that mean? It sounds nice, but maybe a bit vague.
It's not vague in his work, and it's definitely not just sentimentality. It's tough. It's kind of cosmic principle, almost identical with God for him. It's an act of will, a spiritual discipline. You see it embodied in characters like Father Zosima and the brothers Karamazov.
So how does it work? How is active love different from just trying to be a good person?
It's about radical responsibility. Active love means consciously choosing to believe and to act as if you are responsible for everyone and everything, including all the suffering in the world.
Wow, that's a huge burden.
It is. It's the complete opposite of Ivan's rejection. Ivan rejects the world because he can't stand the injustice done to one child. The active lover, in contrast, tries to accept the pain of all humanity into their own heart as their own responsibility. It's the only way, Dostoevsky suggests, to truly connect with others, to overcome that isolation.
Which brings us back to suffering, doesn't it? He seems to suggest suffering isn't just a negative thing to be avoided at all costs.
Far from it. For Dostoevsky, suffering is often the necessary crucible. It's the fire that burns away our illusions, especially the illusion of self-sufficiency, of rational control.
It breaks down the ego.
Exactly. It forces you to confront reality, to confront yourself, and to make a genuine choice about who you are and what you stand for. He believed the path to true freedom, the kind of freedom that allows you to practice active love, often requires voluntarily accepting and bearing pain, your own and others, like he lived himself, really. The path to our highest potential, he suggests, leads through suffering, not around it.
So that leaves us, the listeners, you, facing Dostoevsky's ultimate choice. It's stark, isn't it? Do you follow the Grand Inquisitor, choose security, certainty, authority, give up the burden of freedom?
Or do you take Ivan Karamazov's path, reject a reality that seems too cruel, too unjust to bear?
Or maybe retreat into the cynical isolation of the underground man trapped in your own head?
Or do you choose the fourth path, the path of active love, which means accepting the terrifying burden of freedom, but using it to consciously choose responsibility, compassion, and bearing the pain of others, trusting in the possibility of redemption.
It's quite the challenge he leaves us with.
And maybe here's the final sharp takeaway to leave you with. Dostoevsky powerfully shows that true freedom isn't about having no rules or constraints. It's not about doing whatever you feel like. It's found in the conscious, difficult, constant choice to commit yourself, to serve something greater than your own ego, whether you call that God or humanity or truth or love. And that choice, repeated day after day, doesn't just shape your own life. Ultimately, it shapes the future of civilization itself.